best of 3, and whilst Fnatic coming off a loss, they've had a little bit more time to prep for their opponent, whereas Heretics, they played just yesterday. It's a quick turnaround time, and maybe that's the momentum they need to be able to get an advantage with this map veto. Fracture, Lotus, and our decider of Ascent.
I think something interesting happened here that is not showing in the graphic is that because Fnatic have just lost, they come in with a higher seed. And surprisingly, they decided to go for Team B, something that they don't do that often. And it is because it is a question for Team Heretics, what map were they going to ban? Maybe they were going to be the ones removing the Pearl, trying to play a little bit with their heads. But no, Team Heretics has decided that Haven, it's a no-go.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And obviously Fnatic sticking with the usual insta-ban of Pearl there. We are going to see Fracture up first. Now, Team Heretics did look great on this map against Eternal Fire. They almost convinced us that that could have been a tool because of how well that map went initially. And then Fnatic, we saw that the very last week of the group stage against BBL. I'm intrigued to see if they go down a different route since we last saw it.
But two things interesting. First, for Fracture, I love the fact that Fnatic is going to start on the attack because that also gives us Team Heretics defense that has been absolutely stellar all throughout the stage. But more so, when we jump onto Lotus, Team Heretics has decided to start on the attack. Now, Fnatic is very well known for such a strong defense that they have on Lotus, how strong their retakes have always been, and in general, the entire reads that they have in the map.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decider for them against Vitality the other day. They didn't quite manage to get there. And for Team Heretics, that looked pretty poor against Eternal Fire.
Wait, they're playing Lotus. Didn't Vekash play Viper in Lotus?
Yeah, so it's
I don't think Cyberf has ever played Viper.
Yeah.
So that is another layer because I do not expect a change in a composition that has made Fnatic so comfortable all throughout. And then it has to be a debut for him.
Well, there's a lot of layers going on there, and whilst the players are on the stage and whilst all that prep has been put to the side before, they're also sitting down in their Razer gaming chairs there, and so they're going to have to look towards what's going to come up on screen for themselves. We know that Fracture is going to be that first map, and can I just say, by the way, Kukuka, every time I see Fracture now, I just think of you because you were so hard done by in the first 2 weeks of this stage.
Oh, and this one's going to deliver, girl.
I was going to say, and finally teams are bringing it out more often and putting up some good showings on it too.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see Fnatic until that last week. It was kind of field testing, it felt like, right? For them to play on that map. And I think that it is a map that it is very well prepared. I think that Boaster's calling on the attack is essential. For me, knowing what size they're going to start and whatnot, I'm looking at two players specifically. Crashies on one side, because I don't think that against Vitality, he didn't have a good day. And I expect him to change things because of the aggression that I do expect and the reactions that I do expect to see from the side of Heretics. So the same thing goes for Alpha. Many of the Sentinels have been suffering through the consequences, but let me tell you, Alpha will shoot back.
I think the kind of two people that I'm looking at coming into this is the duelists on each side, right? Fnatic opting to go for that Phoenix the last time that we saw the Fracture. How's Sivov going to sit into that? We've seen that he's been great on that duelist so far throughout this stage. And then on the opposite side, we have Woot jumping onto that Raze. How do these two duelists interact with one another when you have that primary Neon on other sides and then the Raze and the Phoenix in between?
Sorry, but I realized that we're a little bit delayed with the agent select. One of the players, unfortunately, unable to keep the liquid into their cup there.
Oh, I remember this time G2 had, when we were online, we had to have that happen and had to change a PC. The real ones remember that day. It was a long day for us. Anyway, going back into it, Fracture, very, very exciting. I think that the possibility of Ascent being the closing map for this series is absolutely stellar. I think that whatever happens, we have been blessed with this map veto.
Yeah, when I think about Ascent as well, like obviously we kind of mentioned already how Team Heretics had moments of struggling against that double Sentinel composition. Let's not forget the last time that Fnatic were playing this, it was a double Sentinel composition. They were running the Vice and the Sage on Ascent, but we don't need to talk about Ascent right now because we are obviously going to Fracture first of all.
Yeah, and we got our agent select popping up for Fracture there, and a little bit of what you guys are talking about. And I mean, could you talk about that Fracture's going to deliver? Is it because of the agents that we're expected to see, or is it more just so how they play?
I think that especially the first half, I expect it to be so evened out. I expect it to be absolutely cerebral because of the reactions that we have seen from Team Heretics. The call from Boo here on the defense has been stellar, but historically, Boaster's calling on this map has been on another level. So for them coming into today, and as you said, having a little bit more time to prep, Fracture is very likely to happen. Cyber Sivoff was incredibly comfortable in this Phoenix. So I'm just looking forward to this first half to start.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when we're looking at Team
Kazakh का
Heretics
game
starting
देखना
on
है
this
अपने को,
defense
Neon.
here, look at how they're utilizing not only the fade
अब
and the raise
Azhar
to
ने
fight for
Cypher
that
लिया
A
है.
main space, but then
मचाएंगे
also
भाई.
when the buy rounds start to get into play, Kosh Maris with the operator as well, using that as a threat towards for Fnatic being able to take into that space.
And it's important to mention that because we're singing the praises of Team Heretics yesterday, but Kushmaros was a little bit out of the picture. Yes, we were saying about Boo, about Benji, and about Wood. And then Kushmaros goes into a second spot, which is not been the usual case, and especially here on Fracture.
अपने टीम में भी
needing
Brim
to
है
see
भाई.
him deliver from the very first moment.
You're
Poster में
almost
लिया.
identical compositions. Well, comps, yes, right, but agents, right?
It's the
difference
duelists,
between,
right?
Yes,
That kinda-
the Raze and the Phoenix. And so whilst you have outlined that they are
Cypher
different,
दोनों की
which one do you
दोनों भी
favor
जगह.
a little bit more? Which one's going to give you that slight advantage on Fracture?
Ooh, I think the Raze, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix is good. Many kind of mentioned it yesterday, the way that in which Fnatic were prioritizing those orbs so that Sivoff could constantly have his ultimate online to be able to take that space. Great in that aspect, but for me personally, I like the utility of the Raze.
Okay, so the Raze maybe just giving a slight edge. We'll see, though, as we're heading on into Fracture, our first map with Mitch and Tom.
Well, this matchup usually is a final, so it makes sense that today is the final opportunity for one of these teams to keep pressing forward, not to lock in a playoff spot, but to avoid being locked out.
Start होने वाला match
Yeah,
guys.
no, they've missed out on their opportunity for a slightly quicker route, and now, unfortunately for me, a couple of the Brits are now going to have to eliminate each other. One of them will be sent home, and the other might just have to stay in Berlin because for once, they actually want to be going home. It's a bit of a weird
करो या
scenario
मरो का
here,
match
but-
है भाई. मजा आएगा.
It is an Irishman's dream, Tom. To see a game as good as this. That's what I'm talking about. Heretics and Fnatic facing off. And listen, last time we got to cast these boys, Tom, it was a fun cast. I had a good time. And I'm expecting no different here today.
Yeah, although if Fnatic do as well in the first two maps, the series ends.
It will be done.
So it's not a best of 5 this time, but we'll have to see. I think both teams coming in with their own strengths. I was definitely intrigued by what we get out of the map veto, where each side would go, whether Lotus would make it through, even though it's looked decent at times for Heretics. We know the level that Fnatic brings, and for Fracture, well, in the past, this would be a dream veto for Fnatic, but as of recently, this maps look very good for Heretics. That, though, not the best start.
No, that's a player we're going to highlight throughout this series. Koshmaris has had an incredible uptick. You heard it in the interview with Benji earlier on as well, how quickly he adapted to the team. But to start out this map, he'll be put to bed. Deleted as the old guard of Team Heretics realize the B site is wide open, and they'll rotate into position, but not in time. Smoke's already down, and it looks like Heretics will be locked out into a post plant.
Yeah, the Molly's going to hold them back. Won't be available for the post, but Fnatic clearly a little bit more wary about the retake beginning before Sivoff's aggression, though, immediately punished. He was meant to be this sort of distractor instead. Turning back to a 4v4.
चलो भाई फेजर पीछे. अरे गया भाई.
Waiting for Alpha to round that corner, and he's made steps now. They know right where he is. They'll just smoke off and move to the site where Boaster now stands alone, not even on the site. In fact, so a bit of a problem when it comes to that defuse, because they're tucked in the corner. They planted the main, but failed to hold control. And as a result, Fnatic will lose the pistol round. The defuse puts Heretics 1-0 up.
Yeah, great start from Rians as well. And I think we've spoken about this a lot in the recent few weeks, is that Rians has had some incredible games. The joke was that every time he plays against Foot, he just becomes a god. But we've been seeing it more and more. His individual confidence, that prime coming back.
No, last.
बहुत जल्दी उसके.
Guys. Nice!
And then a round where realistically, you go a man down and you have to play a full retake in a pistol round. I'll be honest, I thought it would be a little bit more difficult than that. They made it look quite easy.
Second round.
It certainly should have been, yeah. I think Fnatic laid the foundations for a very strong round, but Rian's really lengthening the lists of teams that he's going to have those big performances up against. And that trip not caught. The Prowler went right past it. It's up a little bit higher. And if Crashy's left, that's information for free. And also less indication for them as to where that trip's going to be in the buy rounds.
गया यार.
His way past, won't make
Oh,
it.
भाई साहब.
It's a massacre in main when Crashies eventually makes it here. They know all about him thanks to that trip, and it looks like just dotting the I's and crossing the T's here for Heretics. An almost flawless round.
Come on, Feather.
Alpha able to throw in a bit of a wrench into the
Killa
works,
yaar,
but
1v5 hai.
no love lost and no weapon
least
lost
do
really
kill,
for
do
Heretics as well. That pistol on Rienz who's rotating through. Alpha's going to need to do a little bit more if he wants to make this costly.
I think they want Rienz to get the kill. I think that's why, other than the risk of Alpha, he stopped fighting. Just because when he only has a pistol, but also Rienz is the closest in terms of orbs to actually getting his ultimate online. Now for Alpha, it's getting to the point where death.
Oh, bhai, shot yaar.
I guess both players end up getting the orb that they wanted. They'll even retrieve the extra weaponry, but maybe not quite.
Last second call to pick it up was quite fortunate. The Bulldog would go as well. Indeed, a judge and a pistol, I think, is all that's going to be lost. Certainly not the end of the world. Nothing to cry about.
Yeah, आराम से मारते यार.
Solid individual. Of course, he can show up for a bit of damage towards the end, but the key thing is how dominant it was before that, how clean it was. That's what we like to see. Heretics playing a tight game. Now the challenge is they come in with a pistol and an SMG, but still, those rifles, they won't be pulling any punches. Fnatic approaching it with numbers. Look at this north side push 3 about to round the corner. Koshmaris, that's 3 rounds in a row that he has put in the dirt.
Oh, Benji just about got out of there. Good usage of the cage meant he couldn't really do too much. And Crack has dealt with Benji as well immediately. I was going to say they deal with this, but yeah, Rienz just cool. Yeah, just a little bit of spam. He is the only player earning orbs other than via deaths. He's one away from his ult, but he'll get it online. I don't think he's going to use it in this scenario unless there are some crazy mistakes out of the Fnatic post plan.
You got loads of players with rifles there. Koshmaris getting a 0-3 on the board after that initial fight. I think he was the only real rifle. I'm not including the Bulldogs. Bulldog 1v1's on site. Nothing works. Everything goes the way of Fnatic. And then the Ghost just pops a few shots through the smoke, of course. Rienz is having quite a game. It's quite a series of games indeed. We'll see if that keeps up. Because, of course, they couldn't continue in this round. Fnatic out-armed and outplayed their opposition for 2-1.
Yeah. Good response. I think these are the sort of rounds as well where, especially with the lower weaponry, you can get caught out by a little bit of the aggression. It still has to be perfect, even with the reveal from Rienz. And then Alpha there to keep it.
Boys. Come on, boys.
Fairly clean.
Oh my god, my foot is itching.
It's also worth noting as well, we saw a moment ago that this map is only 58% attack sided, but for Heretics, it hasn't been. They have been dominating on their defensive side, and Fnatic, the one map they played it was a 9-3 attack. So it seems we have both teams starting on their favored side from what we've seen so far this stage. And for Alpha, too many targets.
Yeah, you say that, there's a world where he gets them both. I feel like that's the world we live in most of the time.
Yeah, there's many worlds. There's most of the time he gets both.
This time punished. Fnatic forced to readjust. No control over the south side of the map. And so again, the death ball, the numbers comes into play. Worked phenomenally last time. It was Koshmaris to lose his life early on Dish. This time they move to the B side. That means the challenge is good. And I was going to say, you know, it's tough to catch him lacking, but they've caught him off guard. Benji's now surrounded and soon to be dealt with. Somehow deals with Seavoff, even blinded up, but pressure from all sides, and finally he will fall, but the damage is well and truly done.
Yeah, fair play. Just bear in mind, you weren't muted just because of something on the broadcast. That was purely because he was hit by that Nightfall. He was guessing where they were going to push from and got it right on both occasions. I thought especially the slide out from Kayak would have caught him. Instead, there's going to be crashes in a clutch. Now, Boo is close enough. He should very quickly be able to make the call for his teammates to rotate in. I like the fact that Crashies has actually been able to get an open plant. Gives him way more opportunities, but he's walking into the cross. As a player watching this angle, Boo just sat there waiting. Koshmaris almost sacrificed to the walls again. And a nice attempt on the reaction shot from Crashies. But Boo, I think maybe a little bit further out than he expected.
Yeah, it was a really nice attempt indeed. You could see the idea behind it. But in the end, not to be. Kosh getting on the board. Again, he's had 3 tough rounds, 2 where he was picked off right at barrier up. But the story wasn't just about him, because his rotation played a big role, right? Getting back into position to cover off that push through to the site. Gave Benji that little bit of security to play with, a little bit of trade-ups. Stacked the numbers heavily against their opponent, but yeah, Benji was definitely the one drawing your eye. What a phenomenal hold from him up top. How he got the first, because that blind hit, he had an adjustment to make there, alongside, as you said, before that, being hit by the Nightfall, having no sound, and yet still playing like he knew everything.
Yeah, even shooting the Prowler in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all just reactions, but it's nicely played. Of course, 4 players survived in the round before for Fnatic, so financially still in a pretty good position. One off getting the overdrive as well for Kayak. His role will just be to try and get the entry off the back of Sivov's ult. The burst, though, relatively easy to clear. That Judge has got rid of one, and actually, Boast has gone down just off the back of the nade. Yeah, it was the stun from Koshmaris as well. It just kept them in position. That's so nicely done. As you said, the last round from Benji, it was all reactions, and this was the same. There's no way that you can calm that quickly. Everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. That's what you like to see. Fnatic, a man down, and no control. They at least move towards the north side of B, but Benji has slipped through underneath, and they have no idea of the snake slithering in the grass right behind them. Benji! He won't get 3, but the round, it's already theirs. Clean as can be from Heretics, and we might see a pause from Fnatic soon. This is not going according to plan. No, I think just seeing some of the individual reactions that are coming out from Heretics, like they get that early fight, they delay, they slow things down, but on the other side, it's not like players are just sitting there pretty. They take additional space, ready for that backstab. In fact, you can see him piece everything together the second they tap that orb. That's when Benji knows he's got them locked in. Rest of the players are already waiting on the site. And while for Heretics, again, like around the, when you go in with that run it back, you go in with the overdrive being picked up, you kind of expected it to go Fnatic's way, and they barely even made a dent.
Hey, you think about Alpha in those first couple of rounds, putting up some big plays, even when the numbers were against him, and you think, okay, well, what happens when the rifles come out? Well, nothing much different, really. It's been solid from Team Heretics so far, and as you can see within VCT, the record, although swings to them in some of the smaller games, when it comes to the big ones, that Stage 1 Grand Final especially, it's Fnatic who come out on top.
Yeah, it's a storied past, and it's a fun one as well, because obviously, I think you look at these two teams, 2025, other than obviously Kickoff, I don't think you can argue there was any better team in EMEA than Fnatic, making it to back-to-back international grand finals. And then for Heretics, 2024 the same. Like even playing with a stand-in, I think when they went to Shanghai and being able to make it to the final, always being that cursed second place team, but if you're second place worldwide, that probably means you're the best team in your region.
Yeah, I think that's a
unless maybe you're from
guess.
Pacific, and then sometimes that will mean that you're like top 3.
Yeah. Well, a 4-1 scoreline for Heretics, and we've just had a pause from Fnatic. This is where they need the winds of change to blow in their favor. With 1:20 on the clock, it seems like some of that early fighting will be given up on a group towards B main, but Heretics having a similar idea. And it looked for a second like Rian's wanted to push up, and it's a good job he didn't. Wu just found out the hard way that Fnatic's coming.
They have still got, well, I was going to say 3 players, but never mind. Sivov has woken up, and now it's going to have to be some risky plays from Boom Rians, and, well, the risks did not pay off. It leaves Koshmaris left. Of course, he's going to be willing to throw this sniper in. Just an attempt to do as much damage as possible. Of course, this was a hefty investment from the side of Fnatic. If he can even take a couple away, that will hold value, but a huge round seemingly locked in from them already.
I think a big part of this is that early game, acknowledging that Heretics have had so much control over the map early. You think about the round before when Benji was down below. Fnatic rotated back from the A site, moved towards B main, and Benji managed to stab them at the back because they gave that space up so early. So this time Alpha is putting his utility across the map, playing that north side to start, seeing if there's aggression, seeing if someone from Heretics gets curious, and when they don't, just group up and hit the site together. It's simple, but it's effective.
Yeah, I think as well with like commonly a aggression in the early stages of the round, something Heretics like to do, be it on that south or north side. So just maybe thinking, okay, we haven't seen much of that towards B. That's a freer spot that we're not going to find immediate resistance, especially with the double duelist on the defense. You kind of have to be getting aggressive somewhere. I think it's also one where it's harder for the defense to fight. Like, you might do the same towards the north side of B, but the south side of B, it's risky if there's a lot of players waiting there.
You can see Alpha's going to break that trip towards A. And this is good information for Fnatic. They've heard the push up in A main. Now they go to A dish, break the trip there. Your opponents still think the hit's coming in. Numbers still on that side, but no overreaction. Heretics still keep 2 players on that B side. Benji, who was so easily dealt with in the previous round. A random shot through the smoke. Well, he stands close to that smoke. In fact, he stands in that smoke himself and Woot. How far will they go? Content with the control they have or wanting a little more? It's been re-smoked, but they've caught Crashies and then swung into Kayak. A beautiful setup from Heretics. A little bit of aggression sprinkled in, and it's given them the upper hand.
Well, that's the thing, they're still worried that this smoke might have some deep control. They can't risk running through it, and they're being pincered in from behind. They're slowly being closed in on, and they've only got 25 seconds. They've got nowhere left to go. Boo's even starting to think like, okay, I could just end this round with my ultimate. I'm going to hold it for a second or two, and they don't clear that back corner. Benji once again. He has been phenomenal on this B site. Be it in the tower, or be it hidden in the corner.
And when you get that first kill in the smoke, when Woot takes Crashies down, that's where there's a decision. Do we run away? And Woot was going to. He put the blast back down. He wanted to get out. But the second Woot dies, Benji says, I've got to strike. I've got to trade. And he gets in there. That's Benji's round. And it's Team Heretics with a 5th on the board. Fnatic, well, they've got 1 timeout left in this map, and it looks like they still need solutions.
Yeah, that was brutal. It's a direct adaptation to their opponents in the last round as well. Literally shutting down the position they had success on. Again, a piece or 2 missing for Fnatic if they lose this round economically in the bin, and a chance for Heretics to run away with this one. And Benji once again sits within this B site. He has been difficult to clear.
He's going to go through the volley as well. He's caught them off, but the shots don't land. Boaster and Crashies able to pull this into an advantage, and now a plant can be found as well. Heretics putting numbers on that south side, but now they split as well. Boo comes north. That's the orbital strike. I don't know the idea, the intention here, but with Nightfall, orbital strike, and indeed the finger gun's already out. It's going to be a lot thrown at Fnatic for now, though nothing hits. They're keeping that heaven control, and Kayak will not be pushed out of position on site there. It's looking like an impossible round now. That first wave, that burst of ultimates, finding nothing, it leaves them so far on the back foot that I'm surprised they're even still trying. Weapons being thrown away, they've got the credits, I suppose, but even then, Rianz is starting to second guess it, but doesn't get a choice.
Yeah. A really nice round from Crashies, but also, I'm not sure who it was in that moment where there's an orbital strike going off, a load of other utility, who is spamming through the orbital strike, but whoever did that, I think, helped out Kayak massively, because it just clips Koshmaris enough that he starts to doubt something. He's like, oh, am I still open to this other angle? And just hesitates enough that I feel like that kill comes a lot easier to Kayak, and they're able to hold on to everything. As you said, a massive ult dump for Heretics in a retake where, sure, they had a disadvantage, but again, you use everything. You kind of need to come out with something in this round, and well, for Heretics, that's enough that they feel they need a pause.
Yeah, I think it's the right call, just looking at how that round played out. They're on the back foot, they decide to massively commit utility to it, and get nothing on the back of it. It's giving away a lot of advantages. What could be ults that win you rounds in the next, that turn those 50-50s into favored scenarios. And again, you throw it away for that. I do think that that's somewhere that coaches want to get back in and steady the ship here. Because Fnatic felt like they were under pressure just moments ago, but that round win may just have relit the furnace.
Yeah, I think, again, just getting some of those stars online. Of course, it's still been a bit of a slower start for Sivov after what was a blitz in the first week. His first joining of the team, he looked incredible. Definitely had a tougher second match, and I think getting that confidence back for him is going to be massive. Obviously, on the Phoenix, there's a lot of opportunities, but yet to see it just yet in this match. But already, as said, like for Heretics, The expectation is for them to have a fairly strong defensive half, and the same for Fnatic from what we've seen on this attack. Them going in level wouldn't be the craziest of things, but there is a reinvestment here for Heretics. The Judge picks up the pieces of the weak economy, but this is everything on the line.
Molly from Boo's going to delay them, but they've taken caution. Boo has to make a big play and slip it into the wall. Unfortunately, as a slip up, the Seavoff was waiting on the side. It's success across the board for Fnatic. Even losing one, they've got contingencies with Alpha holding for that second man on the south side. It is going to be Rienz alone again. This time in the 1v4, he'll find the first. It doesn't look like he's given up on it just yet. Knows there's a player close. Has the right idea, but a triple swing is primed and ready. And only the double needed to close. 5-4, Fnatic hot on their opponent's heels.
Yeah, I like him trying to bait out all those fights at the end. Like, he knows where they are, just nothing he can do about it. And very, very good discipline from the side of Fnatic. I'll also say it feels like they've spotted the gap. Like the spot where there's the biggest weakness. Their execution on this B side of the last couple of rounds has been very good. Other than the massively aggressive push through the smoke, they haven't been caught. They've been able to deal with the Judge up top, even looking just for a pixel to try and find it, knowing that that's one of the spots at risk. And that is now the reset onto the economy of Heretics. A singular Guardians and pistols to play with. And well, no doubt they're going to try and take a lot of space in this round.
It's a small thing, but I swear I heard someone take damage, no? It's like I heard the character noise, but I don't see anyone low on HP. That's throwing me for a loop. But okay. Looking to equalize, should be the equalizer as well. Orbital Strike's going to even be committed. Better safe than sorry, says Boaster. With Heaven clear, a plant comes through. Still have main control, still have north side control. Really, and especially with the trap, I'm just thinking about this now. You're not even worried about them wrapping underneath, coming behind through Arcade. Fnatic have got everything in their favor, and frankly, that looked like it should have been a kill. Good luck to Heretics.
Oh, even the Nightfall committed. They really are taking this one as safely as possible. Even still, Koshmaras has managed to find a kill. He's trying to bait them out with the tap of the spike. And eventually will. Nice trade from Benji, but once more, there's another layer to this. Another player that they have to deal with up in the tower. And all the more, they've only just figured out that Alfia is back towards the ramp for Boo. Chance of winning the round have just hit absolute zero. Can he make it any more costly? No, he cannot. Few more ults than maybe expected to be expended in this round, but again, for Fnatic, climbing back into things. 5 rounds now on the board after a slow start. I think they'll be pretty happy either way.
Well, yeah, there's only 2 rounds left to play with. So in this round where the danger of a pistol completely upsetting your round, hell, we saw what Benji could do from Heaven a couple rounds ago. So it makes sense. You put the orbital strike through. I'm surprised with the Nightfall as well.
We found the wave.
Like you said.
The wave we're riding. Good job, boys. Good comp.
Or like he said, even better. Riding the wave. Making sure that they don't give any opportunities to fight back in. Now coming into this round as well, it's not like they're without anything. A run it back is just 1 orb away, and there's quite a few orbs to pick from when it comes to this map. Phoenix can get you in. And from that point, you're at least guaranteed, even at the half. They just need this round, but Heretics have invested fully, and somehow Koshmaras avoids 2 fights taking him down in main. He's got the info early.
And here comes the overdrive. Showstopper has been sent out. A chance, and he's gonna get 2! Massive from Woot. A little bit of luck that's gone a long way. Leaves just 3 remaining for the side of Fnatic. Of course, you mentioned the running back. It is online, and the other ult that they used is also now gone. Left to Alfia, and unfortunately again, too many targets. Nothing landed. And with the spike down, even a recovery here seems impossible. Of course, credits-wise, they're not in a bad position, so it's no real surprise to see Fnatic try and just throw bodies at this. And Crashies probably is a little bit surprised that there's still someone on the B site.
Yeah, I don't think that would have crossed his mind for even a second. And actually, the time it's going to take this fight is going to win the round.
He just wants to kill him
for Heretics. But yeah,
just for being a rat. He's like, you know what? We don't like rats. Get out of here, Boo. But yeah, 14 HP, probably just going to try and hold on to the gun. And he's not going to.
Mission failed. 1 more to play with now. Fnatic stalled out there. at the 5 mark. Hey, again, finding 3 in a row in the last. I think it was important to keep that momentum going, but what do you do about this?
It's just RNG.
Every setup in the world, every strategy you put into play, just one rocket well placed through a cage, and that's the end of your run. But
Nice! Let's go, guys! Come on! Come on!
on the upside, run it back online for Fnatic coming into the final round.
Yeah, again, not really seen much from Seabuff on this Phoenix so far.
Oh, it's been awful.
Those orbs have been collected throughout the game, but unfortunately not a lot of them coming off the kills. Flash is going to give the space. Allow him to go through on the run it back, but especially with the stun, I don't know if he's even going to make it to the side. No, it's just going to be the spam through. Kayak's at least done well on the other side, and then re-aggresses to take down the flanking Benji. Turns it back into an advantageous position, but more importantly, opens up A. However, they're just baiting this. They're baiting the push forward. Incredible. They've pulled out Koshmaras into a fight that he didn't even know he was about to take and given them an even bigger advantage.
Rienz has bailed them out of worse situations, you would say, in the past, but not this time. The spike will not be stopped on its rush towards the B site. And now, all alone on the other side of the map is Boo. It looks like we're destined to be neck and neck at halftime, and with Boo having 2 kills on the board so far, this would be a pretty significant departure from the norm from what we've seen so far. And he will find the first.
Okay.
All right. And look how quickly Fnatic they were all grouping up to push him to hunt him. He got that kill. They're like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's play this seriously.
It's not going to matter at the end. Kayak, he is going to be able to make this an even half. 13-7 for him, a decent result, but we have to see what's going to happen in the next. For the past weeks, we have been keeping up to date with the race to 3,000 kills between Althea and Kankan. Ginny is standing by with the man himself for an update.
The race to 3K has been concluded on VCN side of things. Alpha, I thought I'll play you a little clip first things first, see your reaction to that.
3 player, which I'm doing flex roll, so I think I'm better, but good luck guys.
刚刚选手是不是也听懂了刚才他大概说了一些什么？
是的，哎呀，其实对我来说真无所谓，他要觉得他厉害点，他要厉害点就行了，对吧？然后反正我还是那句话，我不在意谁先到达3000杀，我只在意我退休前能不能达到1万杀。
10,000 kills. That's a lot.
I mean, he has a goal for himself. I mean, like he's saying that I don't care who is getting 3K kills and stuff. And he was trying to be humble a little bit. He was saying if he thinks he's better and stuff. But I mean, I don't think I'm better than him. I don't think he thinks he's better than me. I think it's just Valorant. Everyone is good in their role. And I want to say congrats to him that he reached his 3K kills. And he has a goal to get 10K kill. And I hope he's going to be successful on that goal.
That's very diplomatic and very kind of you to say. Do you have an individual goal for yourself as well by any chance?
Yeah, I do have only one goal left because I won Masters, I won Lock-in. Like, I can't count how many times I win on the EMEA. So I have one goal left to win champions.
Okay.
Last year we missed with 1 step away, and I hope before I'm retired I will be winning champions.
Okay, I really like that goal. So last question, did you drop to lower bracket then on purpose so they can get some more kills?
Of course.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we're going to head back to you guys.
Well, a tough race to lose, but the road to London has a finish line in sight. But for Fnatic, quite a contender in their way, at least on the first leg of the journey. Team Heretics pushing them to a 6-6 scoreline. Keep in mind, this was Heretics' map pick as well. This is where they wanted to start, Tom.
And they won pistol.
But how are you feeling about their attack sides? Let the people know as we jump in.
Well, the thing is, a lot of the time, they've been so sort of dominant in that first half that we've seen a lot less of their attack. I think both sides, in theory, are going into their weaker half now. But nonetheless, like, do you really care about my opinion, Mitch? Why would we bother with that when we can listen to the comms?
They know it's fake. Faster,
Okay,
faster,
I hear you, Enes.
yeah. Can I do it now?
Yeah.
Go.
Dash.
Go.
Use keep with him.
City.
Yeah, one tower, guys. Cypher tower. Tower. Chill, guys. Can we kill tower? Everybody stay in your need. Can we kill
Tower killing me, guys.
Good job. Guys, one behind.
Wait.
One more. Fight CT.
Kill CT, kill CT.
Nice. Last behind.
Main,
Close.
Pick on me.
Yeah.
Pick on me, guys. Only on me.
Yeah, it's good. Stabilize, guys. I'm picking on you. You can pick on me as well.
Well, things getting hectic in the Team Heretics comms, but it looks like that's netted them around. Only Kayak left. 4 players in the post plant. And all dangers, bar one, dealt with. This guy's been having a pretty good map so far, but they've spotted him now. Should be a formality.
Ooh, okay.
Well,
that was a nice shot.
Big risk.
The problem now is the time. There's so much that Kayak would have to do. I think this has come down to basically just how many orbs can he farm up in the next few seconds, especially with the deep control of both duelists. And eventually for Boo, he'll get the easiest kill of the day so far. 7-6, both pistols now going the way of Heretics. And it was the reason that they went in even at the half, was the fact that they managed both. But an important one to take nonetheless.
Oh, without a doubt. It's the only thing separating them from their opponent after that first half as well. The pistol that they found, that Heretics found, is being 2 for 2. It's given them the leg up. The late rounds, Fnatic woke up, and that's a conversation that I think is very consistent with Fnatic. Waking up into series, again, the era, the dynasty of comebacks that they've had. But then we've seen it in events as well. We've seen it outside of just the maps. Them getting better as the tournament goes on, and as the stakes grow steeper, grow greater. But here with the pistols, there's not a peep from the defensive side. Boo goes down, but to be fair, decent tag on Woot. But it is Alpha left alone again to try to not win the round, really.
Spike planted.
Do damage.
He's going to try.
Yeah, no doubt he will, but I think it's an unreasonable goal.
Yeah, you know. Alfia does unreasonable things sometimes. I will say, the fact that he was in the race for kills and, you know, Konkon gets to play the whole of his playoffs.
Yeah, it's
not really fair.
It's kind of messed up, right?
I would say it was cheating, but, you know.
It should be a per series rate, per round.
But either way, he didn't add another to the tally. And Heretics, a relatively clean conversion, even though it definitely had some danger about it. Also for Wu, earning up a lot of orbs early. Couple away from that showstopper. On most maps, we talk about like, okay, maybe in a round, he'll be able to get that showstopper. On this map, he could very easily get it this round.
More than enough orbs on offer. That's even without firing a shot. You can see presence taken by Heretics north side, already speeding up. Woot is going straight into heaven. He's giving it away though. The boombot's being sent through, but he is following it up at a pace the Fnatic just could not expect.
He got the orbs.
Showstoppers online from Woot, but Siva is fighting back. The rocket not going to land on him, but he sent instead Corral towards the executioner of Benji Fishy. And with Kayak alone this round,
they're going back,
where everything was committed on the side of Fnatic. They took their bruises and lumps in the first 2, but thought this is where we'll swing
He's gonna
back.
Get there first.
They've fallen flat on their face. It's on Kayak to pick them right back up.
Now Woot's low. He's got here so quickly that not only will they not have heard him because they were too far away, he could genuinely catch them on the cross. Able to get down to the site. Looking to try and clear this, but realistically, he's so far forward that why would anybody expect him to be here? The first, that was the low player. The next 2 definitely going to be a little bit tougher. Trying to bait him into a swing, but almost waiting to see where that second player comes from. Boo just stuck within the site. Nowhere to clear, waiting for the cross. There's the swing out from Boo, but he doesn't land the shot. However, a hefty tag onto Kayak leaves this a lot less likely. No reason for them to swing anymore. They've grouped up together, repositioned into one. And Benji's just waiting. They've got a high-low just to make sure it's cleared. Another wonderful round from Benji Fishy. And more importantly, a huge victory for Heretics.
Oh, really quick thinking from Benji and Boo there as well. When the door opens, you see them instantly set up the high-low in a position that Main, if he does go there, it gives no angles. It gives no opportunity to fire back to spot info, and they can take the double peek after. And if he doesn't go to main, well, then he's walking right into your high-low setup. So really, really nice stuff in securing that. And I think there's been a couple moments where Heretics have had the advantage, and you see them play loose. But once it gets serious, like goes from a 4v2 to a 3v2, or in this case to a 2v1, they're like, oh, tighten up the ship. Like they have that lock-in mode, which has been very good so far.
Oh,
Kayak.
the flash.
Hell, they're looking the other way. The distraction, it pays off for one, and a stun. But how much more can he get from here? In fact, the smoke has to go down to get him out. They do manage to extract Kayak, so a man advantage persists.
Yeah, Boast has already retrieved a gun as well. Of course, for Heretics, they were at least able to get out with a spike. That could have been really dangerous if that had been dropped behind the smoke. Instead, they're looking to try and re-clear the same angle. If anything, it's the same trap being set, and this time Kayak's on the other side. A shot through the smoke that clears out Boo. No other additional weaponry has been retrieved just yet, still leaving it with just the one. But that is the risk. That's why Heretics wanted to fight it. If we give this up, it guarantees weaponry into enemy hands. And why I think now with Crashy's clearing, there was temptation to go for it, but as of right now, they're going to go just with that singular gun. It has, however, been handed to Alpha yet.
30 seconds left.
Wood's trying to take space, but Alpha's already here, locking it down. Benji alone, big plays, as we've said. We've seen him deliver, but this one, too hefty a package. Fnatic, they make it up to 7. Very well played in the late stage. And I think the perfect time for it as well. It felt like Heretics were just about to run away with the game.
Well, yeah, you lose your bonus. You win an emote of Thrifty right off the back of it. And I think that also just not only the initial trap play, as you said, the sort of bait from Sevov was sublime, but then you have like a change of, okay, we've now swapped Kayak back to the other side, and then we have another player baiting him. Just give your superstar player opportunities for free kills. And hey, it's a crazy thing. He's sometimes going to get free kills. Then you have your other superstar with a rifle he didn't have at the beginning, kill both at the end. Crazy how that works.
Yeah, it was filling back in the space as well. Alpha had the rifle, but he also just had the right timing to get in towards Elbow to deny that bit of extra space that Heretics wanted. Of course, they wanted that space just to take a quick fight, get out, equalize the numbers, but, well, they got a quick fight, that's for sure. 120 on the clock. Double digits still evade Heretics, but a buy doesn't. They're able to invest. They don't have that big old gun. They don't have the op. You see it instead in the hands of Kayak, and opponent's about to round that corner. Prowler goes first, and he fires the shot at it instead. Okay, Heretics have bought themselves a second. Leafs of Light, Sevov up close. Only the one. That op still waiting on the site, and they know it. For Heretics, there'll be time to speed up, to take it down as it rings out up in heaven. Or they could send it to the other side of the map, but they need to make a choice soon. 45 on the clock.
They're going to get the info. I guess Kayak on the other side has it as well, but another shot that goes awry, leaves a somewhat isolated Kayak and then caught up from a different angle. Alfia hoping that maybe he can get some information off his remaining utility. But they are going to be able to cross, and more importantly, Riens, while trying to get the spike down, kills off Boaster.
Spike planted.
Makes it so much more difficult for the remaining two players, and they're making that decision. We've got some credits to spare, but maybe not enough for everybody. Because of that, they've just got to hold on to the guns.
Well, it doesn't look like Heretics are going to be hunting them down, but happy to pick up an upgrade of an op. If it's even going to be carried through, I mean, there's a good chance he's just going to take the rifle, leave that op inside the spike drop, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, Heretics move north side, get out with weapons, okay, but double digits, that's the more important thing. Credits with 4 players alive, building up, an op removed from Fnatic's clutches as well. A buy in the next possible, especially with Kayak's ultimate, but it does feel like we're getting close to the line in the sand. It's been a back and forth affair so far, but a trip at this hurdle for Fnatic will probably leave them in the dust.
Yeah, and that's it. The time to take a pause is now. Like another 4-1 deficit, same as the last half. They were able to recover from that position, but we are seeing some sort of glaring issues. I think one of them, obviously, like you look at Sevov in comparison to the first week, no pressure versus BBL. They'd already qualified him first. It literally didn't matter what happened in that game. So other than pride and maybe doing some damage to BBL, Then you go into the high pressure game versus Vitality, and he definitely struggled. You could see the difference. Maybe you talk about different caliber of opponent or form, but right now, it's been troublesome. And don't get me wrong, the last round, he gets hit by an orbital strike, still gets one, gets out. That's not so much of an issue. The attack side, him having that Phoenix, having to run it back and never really having too much impact with it, you're starting to see how Fnatic might be suffering a bit more with that stand-in, which is something that needs to be talked about. I think, obviously, with the first week, him doing so incredibly well, I think it's very easy to just look over the fact that they have a stand-in. Just go like, oh, well, if he does insane, then it's not a stand-in anymore. No, it is. There's still going to be gaps. There's still going to be issues that come through. And as of right now, I think also I would just do the comparison of Boaster's individual performance. When you have your team, you can focus more on you. When you have someone new, you have to focus on them. And you've seen his individual level also take a bit of a dip heading into the playoff stage.
It's understandable. They have much more to do in the round-to-round. Much more to draw your focus. Now, we've had the timeout from Fnatic. We've spoken about this. A marathon, not a sprint for sure, but it will turn into a quick burst of energy. If they lose out on this one final leg before the map closes in Heretic's favor. This has to be Fnatic's final stand. Big investment. As we said, the ult there for Kayak. They still get him a rifle, but they've lost the B site, forced into the retake early on.
This seems like the plan, though. Like when you have the run it back, you have the overdrive, you got an ability to run in, get some information, maybe get a kill, have no risk behind it, then you can follow up at pace, and that's not bad already. A trade onto an ultimate puts them with a man advantage. Alfie is looking to try and get them the rest of the information, try and clear those players from the backline. That's exactly what they're doing. Get rid of Riens and leave it onto 2. No ultimate to play with. Boo just needs to swing this, and now they know exactly where Benji is. That is a beautiful retake.
I think it worked out really well that Boaster didn't get his kill until towards the end of the round as well, because if he's the one picking up the opening, they get orbital strike right away, and I have almost no doubt that they would have put it into the round. But instead they get out of there with orbital strike still intact, because he gets it in like a 4v1, or 5v1, pardon me. It was of course an end zone flawless. So from this point, Fnatic, we said that the pressure was on. This is a round they have to deliver in, and my God, they did. Playing the retake from the get-go, and it was all according to plan, leaving with still some ammunition locked and loaded. The magazines don't need a touch-up.
Oh, this is going to be fast. Surely. All 5 players grouped up. Overdrive for Cosmaris. They've also got Nightfall. Just look at Fnatic, though. They're not on the site. They've seen this coming. They knew that there's a good opportunity. They're going to send in an ult. They're going to get super pacey with it and go for that post plant. Fnatic very happy to try and play the retake, especially now. You mentioned the ults of the last round. Now they have that orbital strike. They can clear some of those angles. Heretics, though, their response, play in more aggressive positions.
Yeah, stay out of those easy chokes. Like you expect that orbital strike to go towards heaven. So not being caught in the corner up there is key. And there it is, coming down just as expected. This is their moment now to push forward. Take the fight to Fnatic as they go to push in off their ults. And it's Benji fighting 2. The push up from Seavoff is messy. He's got there in the end, but Benji's triple has kept it within the realms of possibility for Heretics. They've heard the steps. They know where Cosmaris is coming from, and Seavoff had so much faith in Boaster. 5 HP, and he sticks the defuse.
Yeah, normally you might consider doing that the other way around, so you can take a tag or 2, depending the angle he comes from, but no. You realize, okay, it doesn't matter if I die. It matters that we win the round. I really like this round actually from both sides. Like, obviously, maybe a whiff or 2 in the mix of it, but it's the adaptations they made. First, one team realizing that, okay, Nightfall into that overdrive is a really good aggressive combo. Let's avoid that. Let's let them get the post plant set up with good ultimates. Then you had the Heretics adaptation of, we know where that orbital strike is going. Let's play aggressive ahead of it. And then just the group up towards the end from Fnatic was more than enough in those retakes. And that's what's been working for them. Look at the board right now. Well, you can't, but I can. It was 3 rounds that went off eliminations, 1 with the spike exploding in between, and then the rest for Fnatic have all been retakes.
Yeah, the retakes have been looking very good, but you have to think back to those rounds where they have a run it back, they have a Nightfall, they have a orbital strike in play as well. Like, those ults are helping out a lot in those fights. And I do think that that lock-in mode we talked about from Heretics, we're at that point with the scoreline where I don't think we'll see too much more loose play, but it's more on the Fnatic side. I need to see that in play now. I need to see the lock-in moment, because yeah, you did it with ults. Great, 2 retakes that you planned to be retakes, that you had the utility to run it down with, and that you won your fights in. That's fantastic. Can you do it now, when the playing field's a little bit more level? Still have a Neon ult, but...
Yeah, and their opponents don't have guns.
That's always, yeah.
It does help out a little bit. You never know. John, honestly, with Wu, you never really know. Same with Koshmaras. I think I've seen this guy get so many sliding Sheriff kills, which, by the way, don't know why that's a thing.
And I don't think we can doubt Rian's with any weapon in his hand.
Yeah, to be fair. Especially, I think the Turkish players have really been pushing forward the use of the Bandit. It's not that surprising when you have the best first bullet accuracy of anyone.
Bring them down.
A lot of information for Fnatic. They've pushed all the way up on A, we can see that, but towards this B side as well, the Cypher setup a bit more passive. It's keeping a lot of info in their hands, although they see nobody A, with no noise on B whatsoever, no utility, no presence. They're not falling for a ruse just yet. They're not going running into the attackers who are sat patiently waiting on that south side, expecting the overextension. But luckily the Prowler goes through. Heretics are wary of the space they've given up. But what do they do here? You've already used both of your Prowlers. The reveal now finds nothing. You've only got main for your trouble. Now the site push needs some help.
Oh, there's so many players here from Fnatic. They are so aware of what is going on. 4 players already on this side of the map. Benji's done well, though. The re-swing, it's aggressive, it gives opportunity, but that time is ticking. They've still left at the back of the site. Kayak is not a man that you want to try and deal with in 8 seconds. And Boaster's there on the cross as well. Superb read from Fnatic to level things up. And Mitch, if the game so far is anything to go by, in both halves, 8 out of the 10 rounds from Heretics have come in those first 5. We're now getting into the last few.
Yeah, that's what I was saying coming in the second half as well, right? Like, Heretics found the pistol. It's even at the half. They find the pistol again. It's like, great, okay, cool, because seems like they need that little early lead up, that little bit of a foundation to build on. And now at double digits, the rifle's out from Heretics, but I like what I saw from Fnatic. Up against a mixed buy. They didn't over-aggress too much, but they didn't get rid of the aggression altogether. They needed their space, they fought for it, and they made their opponents pay with utility on the way back in. This time they'll pay with their lives as Koshmaras falls right off rip. An opening duel for Fnatic right when they wanted it.
Yeah, someone that I think a lot of teams have really struggled to deal with. Fnatic have not. Koshmaras has been going down first, I'd say in the majority of
Both
rounds.
halves, yeah.
Sivov has also managed to just earn up his ult as well. That run it back is already online once again. Of course, only 6 orbs. It's aggressive, though, from Boaster. Showstopper also utilized. It's going to give them at least space on the site, but they do also have to deal with a player in tower. This is a complete wraparound, though. They've seen nothing towards that mid spot of the map and just go, okay, well, there's no one here, so that must mean they're pushing the extremities. I think Crashies has now had that realization, but yeah, one of the weirdest rotations you may ever see.
Oh, man, how's Benji so low? Well, round 21.
Joke's over.
One of these teams is set to take the lead. Benji will catch Alpha there. No surprise they didn't expect him to be in that corner. They thought a big old rocket came and cleared it. Sivov takes down Boo, though. The ult not offering up a trade. Now they move to the side as Kayak has gotten the finger guns out, but Crashy's landing too is what secures the round for Fnatic. 11 on the board. The team that needed an answer seems to have found one, with the lead being Fnatic's.
Yeah, even though they kind of fell for what was a very good rotation from Heretics, like making the realization there's no one through the map. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, in the moment I didn't catch that.
That's why I was saying, I wonder how he's so low.
I got it from what you said, but I was like, what? It's like, oh, bro, just straight up showstopping his own teammate.
He went, oh, there's no one here, I'll just fire it over where my teammate is. The man of culture. Yeah, but to be fair, when...
It was actually the ultimate bait.
When he emerges from that corner later, you are so confused as Alpha. Like, what?
Wow.
Oh, what a strange round.
Dinky buy from Heretics. A lot thrown into the last round. The showstopper was used. I won't say utilized.
No.
It was used.
It was fired.
But now, they've been giving up this side a lot. And instead, Alfier is actually sat within it. Maybe a bit of a nasty surprise, but it seems to be something they're well aware of. Boozed up well, the swing up to Alpha. There's wonderful trades! And, it's not the prettiest final kill, but Sivov will not care. Him starting to come online right towards the end of this map. And even with both pistols, and in one half at least, getting themselves the bonus round, Fnatic now sit on map point. That really shouldn't happen for Heretics.
I always like when a player has that resurgence in the later stage of a game because it means we can be honest about how cheeks the first half was. I mean, Sivov looked garbage, and now he's online. He's taken out the trash, and that's exactly what we want to see. That was a big 3K from him under pressure, and that's not only going to be confidence for the next map, which is the pick of Fnatic, but him coming online, as you said, right in the nick of time at the final hour as the bell tolls. 2 rounds. 2 chances for Fnatic to lock in the lead coming out of their opponent's map pick, and it starts with success, but Boaster goes walking through a smoke, but so do Team Heretics, and they've been smoked by the players on the other side. Woot doesn't even fire a shot in the right direction before Sivov himself puts him to bed. That is a Fnatic bounce back on map number 1, and their pick is up next.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. The fact that they were down in both halves. Nonetheless, let's go down to the sideline, which I believe is with Kayak.
Kayak, an absolute solid performance coming through from you here in a game that is so important. What are you making sure to keep this momentum going? Because only 1 map left.
Honestly, just do the same like we did on this map, and we're gonna win. So.
All right, well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Good luck with that. We're going to be heading over to a break, and we'll be back with the next map of the series.
Say what you will, in the EMEA, you have to prove yourself.
Wingman World, well, what?
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Wingman World while wanting a well-won break. Let's go!
At Carmine Corp, we demand the best. This is what backs us up. The Razer Iskor V2 New Gen.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah, motivated, I'm focused. Came a long way from the lowest. Yeah, gotta. Yeah, whole lot of times they doubted I wouldn't be who I am without it. Sleepless nights I counted, it all paid off, it's really astounding. I had to keep the faith to elevate, hope for better days, they were coming. Now we can celebrate, knowing every day is abundant. Yeah, it's my time, yeah, I put that on Bible. No excuses, gotta get to the final. safety is vital. Game time, bet I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, man, they can't keep up. The game's on the line, seconds on the time. Who can't fight? It's gotta be us. Better under pressure, go ahead and let it fall on me. I'm destined for it all, you better call on me. They say what doesn't kill you make you stronger. All that pain, it done made me to a monster.
Alright, how does running Phoenix change how you approach the macro on Fracture?
I mean, obviously the ult is really strong, so we're focusing a lot on like funneling orbs into getting Clem his ulti a lot of times. And I also think that just gives you some nice like tools for retaking, so flooding a little bit more and just being a little bit more on the fly rather than static, and yeah, doing that sort of play. Also pretty nice. But yeah, it's also a lot about like individual comfort. The boys feel good, Clem feels good on the agent, so just a nice agent, nice change overall.
A nice change up for the agent, but very impactful, and something that might have been glossed over in that coach confession is them talking about how impactful and nice it is, that utility for retakes. And honestly, jumping straight into it, that was the make or break, I feel, between Heretics and Fnatic, right? Because for Heretics, it's like back and forth, you're doing really great, but at the end of the day, Fnatic just had outstanding retake after retake.
Yeah, we end up the first half on a 6-6, so it was all about how Fnatic was going to present that defense. I was telling you before we jumped into the match that it is something that I expected to see a lot in Lotus, and it's something that we also got to see on Fracture. Time and time again, the most important round that Fnatic was able to close were those retakes, where time and time again, we see a Team Heretics that doesn't really know where to position themselves and are just flooded with all of this utility that Milan was talking about.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned that I preferred the Raze coming into this, and I think
You're wrong. No.
Because I think that's we can be wrong in some instances, but I think that's because of the kind of meta that we're shifting into, expecting to see more Sentinels. But I think Milan kind of hit the nail on the head, right? The way in which they were utilizing the Phoenix kit to be able to come in for these retakes, and honestly, all the players were able to step up because of those protocols that were in place.
I think also that there's many things that go for Phoenix in this map, and especially within this meta. So because of the way the Fracture is and how open the spaces are, the more barriers or like utility that you can have to cover that vision, the better. And in the way that Fnatic has it, they have Kayak's wall, they also have the cages from Alpha, they have obviously the smokes from Brimstone, and you also add in all the utility from Siva. So it's very overwhelming, and it gives you a lot of tools, not only for the retakes, but also to even get in and out of side when you're on the attack. So it's a very nice balance and something that you can abuse.
Yeah, I wouldn't say worried is the right word here, but it was just intriguing to see that Heretics started off so strong in that first half, where it felt like maybe we're going to have a bit of a blowout, and so Fnatic taking their time out, they slow it down a bit more. And is there a specific player that you think was able to keep them in the race a bit more whilst it took the rest of Fnatic to...
Benjamin.
Yeah, Benji.
No, I'm talking about on Fnatic, sorry.
Oh,
no,
on
on Heretics,
Fnatic
I know it's Benji.
I think
Bro was fine
Crashies
for his London life.
Yeah, Benji really,
definitely.
right from the get-go, playing from tower, Benji was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
For me, in the first half, actually, I really... Production, this is scary. I really like Crashies because,
first half,
even if in the second one he didn't have the craziest numbers, Benji was being such a nuisance to deal with. I really like how Fnatic were taking the time, I know that they're very known for that, to actually understand how Team Heretics was presenting the map today, but I really think that he stepped up, and I think that taking Arcade and everything would have not been possible without him.
Yeah, I think the key kind of takeaway was that both teams were able to have such a great defensive half, and then Fnatic obviously being able to come away with it once that switch sides happened. So yeah, I think Crashies obviously having a great performance in the first half, as we mentioned, and then them just being able to close it out.
Yeah, a lot of things going right for Fnatic, the retakes, having a player that could keep you in there, try and shut down what Heretics are trying to do. But for Heretics, they're going to have to look towards that next map. They want to be able to make sure that they're going to be able to have a better showing on Lotus.
The site of many hard-fought battles between you and Fnatic. What's the key to beating them on it?
I think the key for me is not really map related. I think we're in complete control of that map just now, and we lost our composure. We let the hard rounds get to us, and we just completely bottled it, to be honest. So it doesn't really matter the map. We know how we need to win. We were in a good position that game, and we just kind of didn't close it out.